So, I heard you're looking for a go-to source for entertainment.
Wait for it.
Gaming?
Wait for it.
Anime?
Plus Ultra!
Mr. Eric Almighty and Phil the Filipino? Yeah, they've got you covered. And all you gotta do is... wait for it. This is the Wait For It podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Wait For It podcast. I am your co-host Phil Smith, aka Phil the Filipino, and joining me as always is your other co-host, Mr. Eric Almighty. And Eric, we are here with the January edition, the very first edition bonus episode of What Did I Miss here in 2024. We had a little bit of a test run with Philin and Jordan. Shout out to them for once again being our guinea pigs as we have reintroduced this series in its new format. It's been a lot of fun, and we have two new guests here. Not new to the podcast necessarily, but new to this What Did I Miss journey that we have been on. And, after getting through some technical difficulties, we are now here, ready to record and, discuss some pop culture news or whatever else comes up and play some games.
Man, it's a good thing this is a bonus episode because I am ready to go. I'm good to go. Let's do this. All right. What did I miss? We are here ready to jump into it with Andrew and Stefan. You guys may know Andrew from Your Friendly Neighborhood Gamers, who of course we partnered with several times, and we can't wait to do more as the year continues. And then my brother Stefan, who you guys have heard at various points as well, jumping on like back-to-back recordings because we were on with Andrew, and we'll talk a little bit about that episode. But Andrew, how are you doing tonight? And then we'll throw it over to Stefan. But how are things going for you?
Going great. Thanks for having me. This is like the first follow-up to the Fantasy Critic, right? Where Phil and I get to brag about 90-plus point.
I'm in the lead.
Games.
I'm up to a good start. I feel good.
That's one of the things people may have missed, and that's going to be in the show notes. Andrew, can you tell us a little bit about what the Fantasy Critic Draft was and what's going on over at Your Friendly Neighborhood Gamers with that?
Yeah, so the Fantasy Critic League is something we've done for, I think we figured out it's been 4 years now. We did it with our old show Level Playing Field, and then we've continued it into Friendly Neighborhood Gamers. And essentially the elevator pitch is that it's fantasy football, but for nerds. You create a video game publisher that represents you, and you're trying to find games to fill out your roster, and you get points based on how well they score on OpenCritic throughout the year. And then there's a few different ways, like different rules and things that you can use to try to spin things into your advantage or maybe screw over some of your opponents based on counter picking and things like that. But it's a really fun way to kick off the year and kind of get excited for upcoming releases. And then at the end of the year, it's always fun to look back and see how things shook out. And was it how you thought they would, or did you end up counterpicking Hogwarts Legacy?
Okay. I gave you such a nice introduction, hey Andrew, welcome to the show. I felt like that was uncalled
Set you up
for.
perfectly. It was like a beautiful lob.
Do you want me to take
there.
another take and I can say counterpick Liza P instead?
No, it's fine. We just won't have any of the links in the show notes for any of your stuff. Stefan,
I'll put it there.
Well, welcome back to the podcast. You are jumping into multiple recordings now, so it looks like 2024 is your year of recording. How are things going? Are you Knuff?
I am always Knuff. I'm doing pretty good. Year's pretty good. I'm glad to be on. It's always a fun time getting invited. I know this is literally the kind of segue of me replacing you completely, as I am the better Cerna, but that was always the plan. It's just moving a bit sooner in the year than we all thought.
That's understandable. Honestly, I could use a break, so having a fill-in would be really nice. Speaking of fill-in, Phil, this is your show, so take it from here.
That's me. That's my name. So if you guys have never listened to the previous episodes or the previous bonus episodes of What Did I Miss, whether it be the original incarnation or the new one. Basically, what we do is we go over pop culture stories from the previous month, and that can be anything. It could be obviously anything from the world of gaming, movies, television, or it could be something fun, like my sister talked about a couple months ago, where we covered the Florida Man games, which we need to follow up on, Eric. We need to get our sign-ins. We need to get everything set up for when we eventually take the crown for Ultimate Florida Man. But it can really be anything. We're just here to hang out with our friends, have a good time. We brought in these guests. We brought in Andrew and Stefan again because we just had a really great time talking about the draft, and we want people to go listen to that episode as well. And then at the very end of the episode, we just go through and play a couple games that I have made up. Some of them we have stolen from people like Andrew, and some of them are totally original, like I have come up with here this evening. So I got one that's I'm pretty proud of. I think you guys will have a lot of fun doing so. But that being said, Eric, I think the real star, actually, of this show is none other than the wheel, because we don't set any type of order for this. We leave it up to fate when it comes to who is presenting first, and that is where we will bring in the star of the show, which is the wheel. And Andrew, Stefan, you guys again, first-timers here on What Did I Miss? So, Eric, we have a a specific way in which we introduce the wheel. So do you want to tell Andrew and Stefan what we're going to have to do here today?
Yes, because this is a challenge, is what we've learned. What should be the easiest set of instructions apparently is the hardest thing to nail down. So we're going to count down, and then we just all have to, at the same time, say spin that wheel. Andrew has had a little bit of experience with that. Just a different wheel here from the holiday special.
A little bit of trauma from that.
Totally ruined Christmas.
Again, I was asked for a wheel. I provided said wheel. It's unfortunate the way that went.
On that one. Were you asked, or did you just volunteer?
Or did you just pull up the wheel because we were
So when
excited?
it was brought up, I did happen to have the wheel in my hands already, but that doesn't really matter. So yeah, we're just gonna count down. We'll go 3, 2, 1, and then we all say, spin that wheel. And you got to be excited about it. That's the other thing. So
just put a little effort.
But is it in that cadence as well?
Yes. See, I've asked this question to Eric before, and he got mad at me. So thank you, Stefan,
3,
for reiterating.
2, 1, spin that wheel.
It's very important.
Very important. Okay.
Again, there's no. This has proven to be difficult. I believe in this team. I believe in this group. All right, Eric, ready?
All right, guys.
Wait, do I also have to say the 3, 2, 1 as well, or is it
no?
No. Why would you say the 3, 2, 1?
I was just asking clarifying.
I have
questions.
one job in this episode. Don't take it away from me. I count down 3, 2, 1, and then we do it, and we do that 4 times because there are 4 of us.
Oh, we do it each time.
Yes. Even when there's only one person left, we're gonna spin the wheel.
We're gonna still spin that wheel.
Gotcha.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Spin.
Rotate that
circle. I don't know what Andrew said, but it wasn't spin that wheel. I hope
Rotate
you go first.
the circle.
There you go. That's what you get. That's what you get. All right.
Yeah.
Congratulations. All right, Andrew, you get to go first. I know you said you had a few stories to pick from. So, what did you want to go over? What did you want to highlight from the month of January, first month of the year?
So, I do have a few that pretty much all of these, I guess, could be kind of like in a rapid fire rotation. None of them are super deep, but I'm going to start with the one that is probably nearest and dearest to me, but also maybe the smallest of all the news stories I found, and that is Rock Band 4 DLC is ending this month. This will be the final month that Rock Band is putting out DLC songs to their store where you can download tracks, and they have been consistently releasing DLC songs for 8 years, I think was what the article said. And they're finally shutting it down. Harmonix was bought by Epic a couple years ago, and now they're doing the Fortnite festival. So they are continuing to make music games and I mean, basically the same game. It's just in Fortnite now. But yeah, I thought it's impressive how long they kept up the streak, considering you haven't been able to buy new instruments since Mad Catz went under or whatever happened there. And I know personally, I've kept a lot of my Rock Band stuff and I've played it within the last 2 or 3 years, but even I haven't played it recently just because the plastic instruments are starting to get a little janky these days. But I am excited to see how they evolve the Fortnite thing, because I think that could be really cool and probably maybe the largest amount of eyes and players that Harmonix will have on their game just because of the Fortnite base. But yeah, Rock Band looks like it's done. This is it.
Yeah, and Eric, you and I play that mode a lot, and it's a lot of fun. We play it with Joyanne and my sister. Andrew, I know you said you haven't been the biggest fan of it, but I remember when it did come out, when Fortnite Festival did come out, they already had started talking about incorporating the instruments and making it so that you can use, all that hardware. Man, I wish I still had all that stuff. I had every single instrument, and I sold it for pennies on the dime, and now they're worth hundreds of dollars because I was an idiot and got rid of them. So it's super smart, especially since Fortnite is free to play, and then you just have people downloading songs and paying using V-Bucks for songs, which I swore, Eric, I wasn't going to do, and now you and I both own multiple songs on Fortnite Festival.
It doesn't help that we can also use them in the Battle Royale and the other modes, so
yeah,
that is a nice little perk. But yeah, no, I had a lot of fun with it. I'm not surprised to hear that news just because of what you mentioned with Epic making the purchase. And I hope that leads to what I think it's going to be, is more instruments, actually another Rock Band game potentially, or at least the same capabilities with what Fortnite's trying to do. So I'm all here for it, Phil. We've had a blast every time we've done it, and that's just with the controller. So that's where I stand on it.
They
it's
have
fun times. Oh, go ahead.
They have said, I think officially, I think it was an IGN article I saw, that they are planning to bring guitars at the very least. I think right now is what they've said, with hopes, we hope to be able to do more in the future, that kind of wording. But it does seem like the plan is to start to incorporate more of the plastic instruments. And you mentioned, Phil, that I haven't been super impressed with the Fortnite Festival. That's basically because the fun of Rock Band and Guitar Hero was feeling like you were playing guitar or drums or whatever.
Right.
So if they can bring that into the Fortnite Festival, because it's essentially the exact same as Rock Band or Guitar Hero. It's the grid, it's the track, it's the notes coming down. So if they can release some new instruments that are a decent quality, yeah, I'm going to be playing a lot more Fortnite in the future.
Yeah. I will say with Rock Band, playing the drums was always it was just a fun time. It just felt good playing the drums. I was never much of the guitar person because honestly, it's really hard. So, but the drums was always so much fun in Rock Band.
Yeah,
I could never get my have my pinky function as the fourth button on a guitar. It just was not natural to me. I could not do it.
On my TikTok, it keeps coming up of people who are really into Guitar Hero and do the hardest songs and everything. I'm gonna be honest, it literally looks like they're mashing buttons. It's so impressive because they're just taking their hand and they're just going across everything, and I'm like, you're not clicking anything, but you're hitting all the notes. I don't know what you're doing, but
it's math and memorization at that point.
It is really impressive how
Eric,
they can actually do it.
You know how I go on these weird YouTube rabbit holes? I don't know how it came up, but literally maybe a couple weeks ago, I watched a 35-minute YouTube documentary about this kid who was supposedly the best Guitar Hero player in the world, but he was cheating the entire time.
Yeah.
He was faking it. I was just so fascinated. I didn't know that this community existed, but I watched that 35-minute YouTube documentary on how he was cheating, and it was fascinating. Highly recommended.
Yep, of course you did. Of course you did. That's
just like I watched Real Steel the other day. Who knows? I get into
guys. Phil texted me and just was like, By the way, Real Steel.
I watched Real Steel.
A good movie, and
Pretty
I was
good.
like,
Yeah.
I was like, I've
Not a
heard it's
bad
better,
movie.
but why the hell did you watch that?
It was about to leave Netflix, and I
That
couldn't
was the
miss out on
excuse.
my opportunity of. Because listen, if it leaves Netflix, I'm not going to go search Real Steel somewhere else or pay for it elsewhere. So I might as
You
well.
weren't
Again,
going to search for Real Steel
I'm
in
paying
any
so much
situation.
money for Netflix, and I never use it. I'll just watch Real Steel and that Telugu film, the Telugu rom-com I'm making you watch for February.
For international feature. Yeah.
A little, a little sneak
It was
peek.
Hi
for
Nana,
it.
right?
Hi Nana. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It's fucking weird.
I'm excited to give it a shot.
But I enjoyed it. But yeah, I actually didn't even know they were still putting out songs. I guess that makes sense because again, they're still such a dedicated community, and with the with them transitioning over to Fortnite, also it's like might as well keep it going and then let people know, hey, if you still want this kind of gameplay, it is available to you. Although in Fortnite Festival, it is only 4 keys, so I'm interested to see how if they do implement the the guitars and like that, how
Is
they're
that true
going to do
for
that.
all instruments and all difficulties? Because I've only tried like medium or whatever. I haven't
Yeah.
played any of the harder
It is.
difficulties.
And on the
I've gone up to
controller,
hard.
it's not very natural either to me because I can't figure out like once the ones in the middle go, which is like right on the D-pad and square, my
Yeah.
brain doesn't work. It does not do it.
It's tough. They may. I mean, I have a feeling they could probably adjust that pretty easily with the tracks if they were going to incorporate 5, because like a drum will stay 4, but the guitars
Right.
have 5 buttons, and then if they add a mic, that's a completely different beast. So
Totally different. Yeah.
I bet they could add in that 5th button for the guitar and bass if they wanted to.
They also need the instrument because I used to love like strumming the guitar where it would do the wave and you get like extra points, or at least it would look cool. I'm not
The
even
whammy
sure
bar?
if it had extra points. Yeah,
Eric wants to flick the bean.
flick it.
Okay. You didn't have to double down on it.
He
Now
leaned
I'm-
into it.
I did. I was
Let's
just like,
transition after flick it and go back to the wheel, unless anyone else has something to add.
Nope, flick that
when it
wheel.
comes to, let's go.
rotate
Let's
that
go
circle.
back. Let's try that. Oh, is that what you said? Rotate
Yeah.
that circle. Son of a bitch. All right, Eric.
All right, guys, you know the drill. We're already 0 for 1. 3, 2, 1.
Spit that wheel.
Oh, that ball.
Wheel.
God, I
hate
can't wait
it
for
here.
every month to see how people just fuck up this this wheel thing.
You've made it a
Anything
thing
nice.
now.
Okay. All right. I will go.
Barely. That was close.
Just the tip. All right. Let's pull up my backup story. Oh, I guess I can stop sharing too. Where's my backup story?
That's not great, Phil.
Nope. Hold on just a second.
Just pretend to be
found
prepared.
it.
Okay.
Whatever. No one will know. Oh, here it is. It's in my next tab over. It was literally right here. Okay, I found it. So this one was pretty easy for me, Eric. And honestly, if it weren't for Palworld, this one is the most obvious story for me to cover. As you know, as we just learned a couple of days ago that a new Jurassic World movie is in the works with David Koepp writing, who is the writer who penned the original Jurassic Park as well as the 1997 sequel. The studio is deep in development of an all-new Jurassic World movie and has David Koepp back at the keyboard. The project has been flying under the radar for the most part. Eric, we thought this series was going to lie dormant for a while. It probably should. We'll talk about that here in just a moment. But the script is allegedly far enough along and to possibly have a 2025 release date. No director is on board as of right now, but Frank Marshall, the veteran and celebrated producer who oversaw the Jurassic World trilogy, is back as far as a producer. And another Jurassic vet, Patrick Crowley, Spielberg will executive produce via his Amblin Entertainment banner. It's unclear what form the relaunch is taking, but it's known to be launching a new Jurassic era per sources with an all-new storyline. This would seem to rule out the return of any of the characters played by, of course, Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard. And it seems like characters featured in the original Jurassic Park movies, played by Sam Neill, Laura Dern, Jeff Goldblum, will also not be involved. It will have a name that starts with Jurassic. We just don't know what that is going to be. And people are excited about this. Again, I think this series probably should have laid dormant for a little bit longer. I mean, Eric, we're getting the Camp Cretaceous sequel, I guess, is what you could call it. So, Andrew, Stefan, I don't know what your guys' level of fandom is or what your interest is in the Jurassic series. I will kick it over to Eric first because this is one of our tentpole fandoms. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on them bringing back Jurassic already. I mean, we're only, 2 years removed from Dominion, and they're ready to reboot it already. Not reboot it, but continue it?
A potential 2025 release is concerning. The fact that that's even, up in the air, a little bit of a concern. We're going to go see, Phil, Godzilla -1, minus color. We're going to see that on Sunday, which is super cool. That film was made with a very relative low budget, and Jurassic Park, has been okay. And those budgets have been pretty high. So you're going to assume they're going to throw money at it. They are doing that Camp Cretaceous sequel. They are doing a Jurassic Park game. So it seems like this franchise is just going to continue going. And I don't know how I feel about that, given the track record of the last 2 films specifically. I love Jurassic World, but the last 2 have been rough. And even Camp Cretaceous, Phil, we were talking about, they kind of limped to the finish line with that story, a little bit. Stefan, is this something, I know Jurassic Park's not something that you're a fan dumb in, but of it obviously. Is there anything that franchise can do to get you interested in it at this point?
For me, no. Especially with how the movies, like you said, the last couple of movies have gone. Jurassic World, the Jurassic franchise has essentially moved itself in what I call the Transformer tier, which is basically the movies are going to come out. I don't really care about them. They're all going to be they all feel and look the same at this point, that there's not real innovation going on in them. So at this point, I'm kind of checked out. I love the OG Jurassic Park movies, obviously, because they were part of our childhood. They're really cool. The first Jurassic World was awesome, but then it's at some point, even when you you do the games and you kind of go put all of out, it almost feels like it's getting milked dry of the IP itself, which is kind of how I feel with Marvel and things like that, where it gets to a point where it's okay, I'm no longer invested in this, because it feels like every 2 years there's something new, but it's not really new. It's just, you're kind of re-pushing the same thing out. So I'm not too interested in it.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. And Andrew, obviously if you have what thoughts do you have, or what relationship do you have with the franchise as a whole? And then as a kind of a backdoor question, are you excited about what you've seen for Survival? Are you going to play that at all, regardless of your status with the franchise?
So Jurassic Park was a franchise that just kind of missed me. I saw the first game, or the first movie, as a kid or a young teenager, and then I didn't watch any of the others. I saw Jurassic World in theaters and thought it was pretty cool. And then I saw the next one in theaters and thought it was a little less cool. And then at one point, I guess it's been about 5 years now, my wife and I, we watched them all in a row. I was like, let's just sit down and watch these, because they've kind of missed us. And I had a good time. I enjoyed them. It's just not my preferred fantasy, I guess, the dinosaur thing. They're good movies. Some of them are just fun watches. It's just fun to watch. As far as the game, I still haven't found the survival game that gets me really invested into that genre, and I don't think this one will be it. I wouldn't be surprised if my co-host Dylan gets pretty deep into it, because he's a big fan of Ark. So it probably won't do it for me. I may check it out just, because it's a high-profile release, but it's not one that's really on my radar that has me super excited.
Yeah, and the fan base has been clamoring for that type of Jurassic game. I hope it's not like Ark. I, as somebody who did put a lot of time into Ark and is finding myself putting a lot of time into another game that just came out a couple days ago that Stefan will be talking about here in just a moment, that has a lot of Ark elements in it. I definitely hope it is more in terms, like, I'm thinking of like a Tomb Raider, like a reboot Tomb Raider. Like, I hope it's like that. That's the kind of game that I want out of Jurassic. I mean, you guys know that I've poured hundreds of hours into Jurassic World Evolution, but like that's because Jurassic presents itself perfectly as a park builder, but that's not everybody's cup of tea. So I do hope that it is something that they do correctly. The thing about the Jurassic films, even though like they have varying levels of in terms of quality, 4 out of the 6 have made over $1 billion. So this is, Stefan, you put this perfectly when you said it's in the Transformers thing. Is like Jurassic moves so much merchandise and so many toys. They won't ever allow it to lay dormant and just let people miss it the way that we did between Jurassic Park 3 and Jurassic World. So much time passed, and then all that money came in from Jurassic World, which made $1.672 billion. They're just never going to allow it to go away, unfortunately, because it makes so much money, and we're never going to get that rated R cut that I want, Eric. That's not going to happen because, again, kids flock to these movies, and we're not going to get that gritty, dark Jurassic movie that I just want so bad.
We're not, but there's still hope that the Fast franchise and the Jurassic Park franchise
Stop it
can
Nope.
cross with
Nope.
Optimus Prime right there in the middle. Come on now, let's make it happen,
not.
Universal money.
You know what's funny? You know, I watched, for some reason, again, YouTube rabbit hole, I watched the most, like a breakdown of the most recent Transformers film. Did you know they did a G.I. Joe tie-in at the end? That was like the post-credit scene for that movie, I had no idea that had happened.
Yes, that was a big deal to the 5 people that saw Rise of the Beast.
Yeah.
Listen. I don't even remember the last Transformer I watched. I'm pretty sure it was the one before Age of Extinction.
I watched the one with the dinosaurs.
I watched the one.
I like dinosaurs.
I watched the one I think before that. It was when I was in high school. The only thing I remember from that movie is there was an absurd amount of slow motion used, more than I had ever seen in any
Michael
movie
Bay,
ever.
man.
And I was like, I was actively like, most of the time, if I'm like annoyed or I'm not enjoying a movie at the theater, it's just kind of whatever. I'll complain about it later. I was like physically upset at the slow motion because it was like every 3 seconds in this fight. It was like a My Hero Academia fight with how slow everything was going.
Okay,
I didn't even do that on purpose.
Zack Snyder was right there to
We got
insult,
like 25
and
minutes in.
and you chose My Hero just to hurt me.
I'm sorry, I didn't even do that on purpose. That was not even an intentional tie-in. That literally was the example that went in my brain. But
Eric had to go
so
turn around and
slow.
apologize to All
I'm
Might.
like, I'm
That's
sorry,
what he was
All Might.
doing. Literally, real life Deku going on. But yeah, again, no surprise there, Eric. I'm sure that was my story because so listen, I'll be there opening day. I'll be watching Camp Cretaceous. I'll be playing the games, but doesn't mean that you can't want more from the franchise when it's all said and done. So we'll see what happens. 2025, like you said, that's way too soon for this movie to come out, but here we are. All right, let's get back to everyone's favorite portion of the show, and that is the wheel. I'm sure it's going to go great this time. Whoop. Oh, that doesn't. Oh, I didn't full screen it. There we go. I'm sure it's going to go great this time around. Eric, do you want to count us down?
I guess.
I have
Pretty
50 on
committed
red.
at this point.
2, 1.
Spin that wheel. Did you say flip that coin?
Yeah, it's 50-50. Yeah.
One shot. Fucking
Stefan is gonna. It's actually kind of fitting because Stefan does have the biggest story of January, so it actually kind of worked out
Works out.
that way anyway. So, all right, Eric, what we got for January? What did I miss?
Fun stuff. Well, this starts off as a question that not everyone may be, or a story, I should say. This starts off as a story that not everyone here may necessarily relate with, but I think it's going to dissolve into a different discussion. I want to talk about the Netflix deal to exclusively stream WWE Raw starting in January 2025. And the reason I picked this story, obviously, whether or not you have a relationship with wrestling, this is a pretty big agreement. And sports in general is starting to make this, now sports entertainment, starting to make this transition into streaming services. And obviously, the Raw has been on the USA Network for the longest time. And the other programs have kind of gone around to other networks. But beginning January 2025, Netflix is going to be the exclusive home in the US, Canada, UK, and Latin America. And internationally, it's going to be the home for the premium live events, for some of the old content that's currently on Peacock in the US. So I think this inevitably means, for at least the WWE, this is probably going to be a long-term move to Netflix, potentially. Phil, I'll start with you because you're the wrestling fan, but then I'm going to extend it to all of you. This seems to be happening now with sports entertainment. You've got video game adaptations, anime adaptations, live action. Everything's moving to a certain streaming service. I'm curious what everybody feels about this transition to streaming in general with all these major properties. And Phil, I'll kind of throw it to you, especially because we're the two wrestling heads that are watching the Royal Rumble tomorrow. Stefan's going to be there, but, we've been watching it long term.
Yeah, well, first I want to let you guys know that Real Steel is about to leave Netflix shortly, so you guys should probably go watch it. It's a pretty good
Real
movie.
Steel. No,
it's pretty good.
Okay, but what did you give it on Letterboxd, though? That's the real
I gave it a
question.
3. I gave it a 3 out of 5. Yeah, I gave it a solid 3 out of 5. It's a fun movie.
A Phil 3 is pretty good.
Yeah, so anyway, this is a huge deal. First off, Netflix is in tons of debt, so why not give the WWE $5 billion? That's always a really good business decision. This was pretty crazy. The fact that it's also, I believe, going to not have ads. So, we're just talking 3 hours of wrestling. And, Monday Night Raw, I don't know if they'll do, a picture-in-picture type of thing. But, that's a big deal. I hope... Netflix is already the one that I pay the most for and probably use the least. But, with Monday Night Raw, it's going to open up a lot of people, especially cord cutters. Eric, you haven't had cable in the longest time. There's not really any reason to have cable. I know a lot of people were kind of up in arms that, remember, the wild card game was only on Peacock recently for the NFL, so people were up in arms about that. But I agree. I think we're going to see sports leagues go this way where it's Peacock, Apple TV. Apple TV already has baseball, so that's already been a thing. And then now with this wrestling, I know USA is still going to have SmackDown, so that is a big deal. And obviously the show we think is the superior show as well.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised, like you said, if this is where a lot of people are heading when it comes to these sports leagues. And honestly, why not? I'm not happy with any cable company. I just made a switch from AT&T to Comcast. It literally was going from one enemy to another because one is slightly better. So I wouldn't be opposed to this whatsoever. We already use our streaming services more than anything. Think about it. If consoles got involved with this, like Xbox, if Sony, whatever it may be, I think it's really smart, and it's definitely a sign of the times, and definitely where we're heading.
Yeah, and we talked about streaming versus physical media in the first episode of What Did I Miss with Philin and Jordan, and just it kind of builds on it because you mentioned the Peacock thing, but Peacock is literally being given away at this point.
Yeah,
and it had Ted come out, which people are talking about.
It should be given away.
It's literally
Peacock is a pretty good streaming.
I get it, but they're selling it for cents.
Paramount.
I'll tell you this. I have Instacart, and they just told me I have Peacock now. So I learned that the other day.
Well, listen, being better than Paramount is literally the bottom of the barrel. But when it comes to Peacock, I'd rather poop in my hands and clap than be forced to go on Peacock to watch anything.
That is an image. Well, I also watch The Office and Parks and Rec and Superstore, so Peacock is a good deal for me, and the wrestling.
But Peacock is one of many streaming services. Paramount Plus, I think, will eventually merge with another streaming service. That's kind of been the talk. And obviously, with cable, at this point, all the streaming services cost just as much. So with all that being said, like I said, there's all these properties. Andrew, there's obviously several different things that you might be interested in. The Witcher was on Netflix, for example. We've talked about that God of War adaptation that may happen. There's a Fallout show happening on Prime. What is your kind of thought as we move into the next 5 years, as we look at the landscape, and how are you thinking that's going to go for you? Are you going to try to keep up with it all? Are you giving up because it's too overwhelming? Where do you sit?
You're also a parent like us, so you're constantly streaming shit.
Yeah, first of all, it's crazy that people still have cable. I've never had cable or satellite. It's always been streaming pretty much. But streaming is getting just as complicated as cable was, and there's just as many ads now and different pricing tiers. And Netflix kicked me off my dad's account, and so I don't have Netflix anymore. So it's getting complicated. It's a mess. You guys are talking about the exclusives between all these different kind of like D-tier streaming providers, and before too long, there's just going to be a service that you pay a monthly fee to just like consolidate it all for you. Gaming is moving towards streaming. Xbox is really pushing hard for that. That's kind of around the corner.
I heard Game Pass best deal in gaming.
It is. It's, people don't think too much about what it'll look like in 5-10 years when we're streaming our games, and if it ends up like TV and movies where it's just a big old mess like this. But on the exclusive side, it's like this is happening in podcasting too. I mean, Spotify is getting exclusive rights to shows to keep them on Spotify, and that's crazy. But I mean, that's how these services compete, especially if they can't make good original content to try to get people to come their way. And like Netflix, they make some good original content and some not so great, but like Phil said, I mean, they're still in debt. It's not enough. So it doesn't surprise me to see these exclusives. And with like sports and wrestling, those were kind of the last bastions for cable. Like that was the last straw really, because like for a while it was news and then it was sports, but now sports are starting, like, I mean, obviously ESPN and some of those already came and did their own streaming services, and then YouTube TV coming out and giving people access to a lot more of that stuff. So, I mean, I think cable and satellite are dead, but I also think that the streaming that killed them is just morphing into a new kind of monster.
Yeah. And maybe I missed the news that DirecTV is dead. I'm sure that'll be a story on a future What Did I Miss if it hasn't happened. But like NFL Sunday Ticket, in my eyes, was the only thing keeping that place alive, and that went to YouTube TV. And then there's NFL Red Zone, which is like extremely superior. Best way to watch football, just so you guys know. Stefan, what are you thinking over on your end? A lot of this falls under your umbrella of what you consume, from wrestling to obviously gaming and anime adaptations. What are you thinking over there?
Yeah, I mean, kind of what Andrew said, where you kind of just morphed back in where streaming is just, there's so many different places. There's Paramount Plus, there's Max, there's Peacock, there's Netflix, there's Hulu. It's so many places, and if you buy all of them, you just have cable again. We're just reverting. The whole reason why streaming was so popular was like, wow, I can pay this, this small amount, because it used to be a lot cheaper back in the day. I get access to all these movies, I get access to all these shows, but now it's
no
we're gonna have no ads. But now we have ads, we have live programming, we have old shows that we watch, and we can have exclusive shows, and if we want other ones, we need to pay like for a different streaming service for those specific shows, like how it used to be with HBO. We're just cable all over again. And everyone's free to do what they want. I have always loved the high seas, and I may be enjoying it a bit more the way streaming is going, because it's gotten to the point where, it used to make more sense when Hulu was $10 and Netflix was $10 and I got no ads. Now if I go to Netflix, because I also don't have a Netflix one since they did the password lockdown. Now it's, if I want no ads, I have to pay $17 just for Netflix, and then it's like $15 for Hulu, and then it's like so many ones. Honestly, America's done a good job of eliminating like one person controlling everything. Can we just have Netflix buy out everybody? If I just spend $25 to Netflix and I get everything, like there's no Hulu, no Paramount, they're just all under Netflix, cool, they can have a monopoly and just have $95 trillion. That's fine. But like having all these different accounts, it's just, it defeated the whole purpose of what streaming was for and why everyone gravitated for it.
Phil, this is like with the podcasting services we use. Like sometimes we like to use Zencaster, sometimes we like to use Riverside. We just want one that has like everything we need. Would be fantastic, but that's just like never gonna happen with Netflix. I would love to have their broad library, but I would like to have, some of the things from Hulu and from Max, and you mentioned Peacock, Apple TV.
Apple TV. Apple TV.
I'd love
Best
to have
one.
their shows and their price. Hell, that'd be great too, because those are basically pennies as well.
If anybody monopolizes, though, it's going to be Disney. They're going to buy all the other ones up, so
Yeah.
you'll have it all under your Disney Plus.
Disney, ESPN, ABC. Yeah. It'll all be there. You made a good point too about when it comes to podcasting, Andrew, because like one of my favorite podcasts, I can listen to it on
everywhere.
Spotify with ads.
With ads. We're everywhere. No ads.
I can listen to it on Amazon Music with no ads, and I get Amazon Music with my Prime membership, so I listen
Which is
to
another
it
subscription.
over there, which is a whole another subscription that you pay for. So yeah, I think it is inevitable. Like you said, the sports wrestling, that was like the very last beacon, and now we are going away from that. So we will we'll see what happens. But yeah, good story there, Eric, and a much more light story when it comes to the WWE as opposed to what else is going on over there. So we'll let somebody else cover that.
And anybody
particular
else,
story.
please. I don't want to
Literally
talk
anybody,
about it.
Anybody outside of the 4 people that are here, Stefan.
We don't
All
want
right.
to talk about that rapist.
Jesus Christ.
You now have to put that. You're gonna have to clip it in. It's gonna have to be the edit.
Oh God! All right, let's get. All right, one more. Who?
Because out of context, that's a
Could it
concern,
be?
Phil.
Well, you said it, so
I just assumed everyone knew, but then I realized, not everyone probably
only
has
you
seen
and
that.
I.
No, I know what it is. I know what
Okay,
that is.
good,
Yes, no,
good.
you're good.
Do you
Well,
have
let's
some
not
milk
tell
I can
it.
sniff?
Again, a lot of out of context things happening right now. All right,
feel so
One more
included.
wheel spin. One
Don't
more.
worry, we'll start sending it to you.
It's okay.
No, we'll include you.
No, we'll include you.
All right, Eric.
The second this episode's over, guys. 3, 2, 1. Let's get it right this time. Spin
Ooh,
that wheel. Oh my god, dude, you guys aren't even trying.
Well, at least Andrew
Oh my
said
God, who's
spin
gonna
that wheel
be?
the last 2.
He did.
Stefan didn't even
of course.
try.
We should have expected that, tyrant.
It's me! I'm the winner!
Stefan, what's your fucking story?
Say best for last. but
Pokemon,
that's not the
right?
Case here.
No, yes, it is going to be about Palworld. So, my story is a game came out recently called Palworld. It is a survival monster collecting game similar to the vein of Ark and most notably Pokemon. You go in, you create a base, you capture these pals, you can have them help around your base as Pokemon slaves, and you can also murder them because there's guns, and the Pokemon can hold the guns. When I first heard about this game, it was like a couple months ago. I was like, this looks so memey. I'm not going to even touch this game. It looks so bad. But as it got closer and closer, and I started seeing the early access, I was like, okay, this is actually looking not that bad. It looks pretty good. And I ended up playing it, and me and my friends, we played 10 plus hours multiple days in a row. It was just a very addicting game. And the thing that's come up about it is very big uproar on Twitter. I will never call it X. On Twitter, is that a lot of Nintendo fans are mad that it's essentially copying the game. A lot of people are accusing it of using AI, of using copied assets and everything like that. So it sparked this very big discussion between, this game versus Pokemon, and did they take anything or things like that. So it's been a very interesting and fun past couple of weeks. Even with all of these things, it became I believe the second most played game on Steam all time. Of most active concurrent players on Steam, it had 2 million at one point. That's not including any of the Xbox Game Pass members at all that were playing either. So they've been doing very, very well. And the game is it's like $30. It was made on like a really low budget. The things that they've done, that like the gameplay loop is, it's not like anything like genre defining or anything like that. It was just a very simple, you go out, you catch pals, you bring them back, you make your base, and you repeat it as you get more and more stuff. So it's been a very simple but like just very addictive gameplay loop they have.
Yeah, Andrew, have you dove into Palworld yet? And have you taken that leap that 2 million other people on Steam have, and then countless others on Game Pass have?
No, I've gone full hipster on Palworld. At this point, I think I cannot play it because, I'm just going to be that guy. Like I said earlier, talking about Jurassic, survival, they called it. It's just not my kind of genre. I don't really like Pokemon games, and I don't really like survival games. I probably will jump in and check it out just because it's so big. It's such a big deal. I'm sure we're going to talk about it on my show at some point. But I'm just so tired of seeing it everywhere and seeing like stories and people's hot takes about it. And some of the things that I've seen have been interesting, but it just gets drowned out by everybody has an opinion about this game. I saw something where essentially this team didn't really know how to make video games, and so that was why they just kind of took all of the assets and game design ideas from other games and threw them together. So it's a really interesting success story. I'm curious to see if there will be any ramifications, like if Nintendo and Game Freak go after them and take them to court, or any of that kind of stuff happens. Will we see ramifications from this? I think it would have been completely ignored if it wasn't successful, but because it's gotten so massive, some of these companies are they're gonna probably have to look into it.
Yeah, and Nintendo actually has put out a statement, or Game Freak has put out a statement, I think it was yesterday, stating they are going to look into it. And that's why people are kind of torn on this, because like Stefan mentioned, the AI art thing, obviously that is very controversial. Where we're heading as far as AI is a story for a whole different time. And obviously with it looking very similar to Pokemon. But the thing is, there are always going to be Pokemon clones, and Pokemon itself is a clone of games that happen before it. I think one of the things that a lot of people are upset with, especially the hardcore Pokemon fans, outside of the asset thing, but they're also upset because we've gotten the same Pokemon game for over a decade now, and they refuse to innovate. They could if they wanted to, but they know people are going to go out and buy whatever Pokemon game comes out in droves, and they're going to continue to do so, and Game Freak will never update the game. There's no reason Pokemon should have the same animations as they did from the early 2000s. There's no excuse for that other than laziness. But also, like you said, Andrew, this was a team that just wanted to make a fun game. They just went out, they didn't want to reinvent the wheel, they just wanted it to be a good time, and they have achieved that. What happens from here will certainly be very, very interesting, but like you said, it is a perplexing success story, because just a couple months ago a game came out called the day, what was it called? The day, I already forgot about it.
The day before, yeah.
The day before, which was again a very small team, and it was, they used a lot of they copied and pasted a lot of assets, but that game was ass. And Palworld, you jump in and you just have a good time, and so.
Day before is a different story. They didn't even reuse assets; they just bought them.
That's true. Yeah, that is true.
And they just put them in.
Yeah, well,
Eric, I think you dove. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that is. I've heard that somewhere from some higher ups. But Eric, I think you very lightly dove into Palworld the other day. What was your experience like? Do you think this is something you could pour hours into? Because I think one time I had tried to get you into Arc, but it didn't seem like it was something that would really interest you. But I know you have played older Pokemon games in the past as well.
Yeah, this is one of those things where, I mentioned, I heard it's okay, I'm not going to play it, and then you roll with, it's not my type of game. So that's, the narrative. I wouldn't say that this isn't my type of game. They're completely different. They're not action, adventure, survival games, but, I used to play Command and Conquer, Civilization, Roller Coaster Tycoon, so, sitting there and doing, what other people would consider nothing for hours, which is what I feel like the beginning of Palworld is. I'm cool with it if it's a good time. And I think, we could just stop ignoring the elephant in the room. The slave labor, am I right? That's what we're all here for. No one else?
I just want to make Jordans with my pals.
Listen,
I don't think so.
There's something empowering about just catching a little Pokemon and then just forcing him to mine rocks for hours
mindlessly over and over again.
Listen, the pals
watching him slam his head into a rock.
Yes, the pals yearn for the mine. Okay, it calls to them.
Again, you're harvesting these things for their meat, and then I'm just feeding it to the other pals. So between that, cannibalism, slave labor, I think this game has everything you could hope for. So
This took a turn.
What do you mean everything you can hope for?
what do you mean? Like
Eric did mention civilization, so this actually does track.
Well, also in the game you can also catch people, and you can sell them on the black market. So you can do that. Capture them and
worth a
sell
lot
them.
too.
Yeah,
or you can put them to work. So.
True. It's not just pals.
But I will say playing the beginning of the game, it has been a little slow, but I've enjoyed it. So I mean, once I kind of get into it, I'm still figuring out like the base building and catching Pokemon. I've gotten my ass whipped a couple times.
Catching what?
That's definitely
pals.
No, Pokemon. Did we not just confirm that
there was the Pokemon mod is gone?
That guy got. They got him.
They got. What do you mean they got him? Yeah, he's a cool guy. Yeah, they got him though. Stefan, are you playing on Steam or did you get the Game Pass version? Because I heard Steam is the definitive version of the game.
Yes, I am playing on Steam. We actually have a dedicated server. So basically how it works right now is if you have a server, when the host goes offline, the server is offline. Dedicated server, it's on all the time. So no matter who's going in and out, things like that. The one thing I do want to say with this, it kind of ties in with other parts, is one big thing that I like about Palworld is it's just a fun game. It doesn't cost a lot. There's not any microtransactions. And we've seen this shift in the past couple of months of really good games coming out. Baldur's Gate, no microtransactions, just a full single-player story. Just everyone loved it. We had Lethal Company, which is literally a $20 flash game, pretty much. It looks like it was made in a toaster. So much fun if you have a group of people with you. But we're seeing a shift of people, and these games are like outselling like the Call of Duties, the 2Ks and things like that. And we're seeing a shift of people no longer accepting the same monotonous game being released year in year out. And we're getting to a point where it's like, we just want a fun game. And that's why Palworld, why a lot of people are gravitating towards it, is because a lot of us do love Pokemon. A lot of us did have that. But like for me, for example, basically since Emerald, I've been like tuned out because you play the game and it's like super easy. And I know it's made for kids. It's always been based towards kids. That's how it should be. But as an adult now, I get to the point where it's like I play it. You could literally take your starter from level 1 to the end and never have a problem, no matter what. And there's nothing like innovative. There's nothing fun to do in the Pokemon games. The most fun that people do in the Pokemon games is they go shiny hunting, which is where they try to.
And that math is insane too. Yeah, that formula is crazy.
They go in one spot and reload their game 10,000 times to get a different colored version of their Pokemon. That's the only thing to do in it. And I'm a notorious Nintendo hater because I feel like the Switch is just the most disgusting piece of hardware ever. I despise that imagine if Breath of the Wild was done on any other console, or Tears of the Kingdom was done on any other console. Those games would set a new scale of what gaming is, and they just refuse to do anything. Because even like the Switch 2 is going to be good, because it's apparently supposed to be like closer to like a PS4. But even then, what happens when like the PS6 is out and we're still here? So they just lag behind. I hate Nintendo, and I'm glad that at least someone is doing something with their kind of formula, because Nintendo refuses. They are so content with having their exclusivity and having everything there that they refuse to push things forward.
Eric, I feel like I'm on ESPN right now. I'm going to throw it over to Andrew to respond to these Nintendo comments.
I mean, that's definitely an opinion, and it's there's some valid points there as far as how the Nintendo consoles, since the Wii, have lagged behind fidelity technologically. But I mean, Nintendo just has that it factor. They have that magic. They have that Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. They have Mario Odyssey.
They're very. It's the I feel like they're the Disney, kind of like the Disney of gaming. And I've talked about some of my issues with Nintendo, but at the end of the day, I also cannot deny that they make games that people want to play. So
Yeah, that's the most infuriating part about them, because their games are so good. Like with the Mario Odysseys, with the like, outside of Pokemon is one that has just been bad for a while.
It's a Game Freak game.
Yeah, that's a Game Freak game. Nintendo rarely ever misses, like, at
Except
all.
for their
They have
sports
the Pikmin
games.
Yeah, they have their Pikmin games. They have Mario Odysseys. They have the Tears of the Kingdoms. Like, these games are all so good. Like, game design wise, they are like second to none. I can't like think like of an actual company that like consistently pushes out this high quality of games being played on a Game Boy SP like in 2023. Like, it's just so criminal. Like, they could literally make the game for iPhones and it would look better than the Switch, because it's just miserable, because the game design, top tier, second to none. I just hate this.
Have you put it in the dock and it went on your TV, and then you took it out of the dock and you kept playing on your Switch?
yeah, have you ever played Mario Kart with another person on a picnic table?
Yeah.
on the little screen? You can't do that anywhere else. What are you talking
At a
about?
basketball court or on a rooftop?
At a party. You share your whip out my Nintendo Switch. Yeah. Here, you take this joystick.
I mean, I wish they would just do what PlayStation's doing, where they sell you a console and then sell you a handheld one that you can't take more than 10 feet away from your console.
You mean the Wii U?
So that's
What are you talking about? They were way ahead.
They tried to sell you
End of the
that,
game.
and you refused to buy it. So
So they were like, all right, you can take it somewhere. Oh, man. Well, awesome stories this month, guys. I knew that bringing this particular group together would and Palworld coming out was just like the perfect combination. So we're going to stick with the with the theme of gaming. Eric, I do know usually we take this moment to talk about any stories that maybe were left on the cutting board, if anybody has any that they wanted to throw out.
Yeah, just a couple honorable mentions, quick reactions. This should only take a few minutes. So, Phil, this will probably be just for us. We were just talking about this with Oppenheimer, obviously, in award season swing. Christopher Nolan's Tenet is heading back to theaters for 1 week only in February. Phil, you just said you might want to watch Tenet again. I was just curious.
No.
Would you now? No? Okay.
No, even with me needing to hit the goal to keep my Cinemark Platinum status, I don't think I want to see it in theaters again. Maybe I'll watch it at home, but
Yeah.
no.
Well, maybe they'll release Real Steel soon. So the only
That'd be great. Have you guys seen Real Steel?
Stop.
It's got Hugh Jackman, Evangeline Lilly. It's
Too
a
much
good
info.
time.
Too much info. And then last, this is just a throw out there into the ether. Nobody else cares about this movie, but The Book of Eli. I really enjoyed that movie with Denzel Washington. Apparently, John Boyega expected to star in a prequel, so that could be good, could
Great
be
casting.
bad. But yeah, I love John Boyega too, so that's helpful. Andrew, you had a couple stories that didn't make the cut. What did you have?
So the Joker is coming to Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League in their season 1 that will come out in March, and he looks terrible. It looks
It's awful.
It's
so
the only
bad.
cool thing about it is like his traversal with the umbrella and the like surfing and stuff looked kind of fun. But everything about his characterization is like, hey, what if we took the Jared Leto Joker and tried to make something worse than that? And so I felt like that deserved a mention.
Oh, this is really bad.
You know,
Yeah, it's not good.
I said this to Eric too. If they release that game on Game Pass, I'd be like, let's try it. Let's give it a shot. But I'm not paying $70 on top of what you want to sell me in terms of battle passes and skins and all that shit. And just
Literally the
just put
opposite
this thing
game.
on Game Pass.
Literally the opposite game that Stefan was describing as we talked about Palworld. It's literally compare
everything
contrast.
that's wrong. Everything
Yeah.
that is wrong with the state of gaming right now. And they're like, you guys want to play this for a few years?
Not
No.
not to mention
I don't think that
bastardization of the Arkham like universe.
Right. Yeah, coming from the studio that gave us three bangers
last
in a
Kevin
row.
Conroy
Banger
Batman 2.
after
So
banger
that's-
after banger.
it's sad.
That's a problem. Yeah, it's it will be on Game Pass, so don't worry. It will.
yeah,
I
eventually.
mean,
We'll
Avengers
give
came
it
to
a
Game
shot.
Pass, Gotham Knights came to Game Pass. It will be there, and we'll all play it like a year later.
I don't think that the servers for that game will be up by the end of the year. I kind of wish I had made that my 2024 bold prediction. I think that thing is going to flame out, and no one is going to play
They'll hold
it.
on to it, I bet, for at least a year. But after that, I could see it going down pretty quick.
Avengers did go on for like 2.
Yeah.
So that is a good point. Stefan, did you have any that you were throwing around, or was it just Palworld?
Yeah, no, I actually had one that I thought about while we're going through this. Speaking of streaming and everything like that, and kind of on the physical and digital media, there was a quote from the CEO, I believe, of Ubisoft. Yep, where he brought up specifically that players have to get used to not owning their games. And it was one of those things where, like, a lot of people are okay with streaming, and we're okay with, like, Game Pass and everything like that. But it is an odd thing where you basically are going in and it's like, hey, even on Steam, for example, you technically don't own those games on Steam. They could ban your account for X number of reasons. But it is a very odd thing where it's now the CEOs are just coming out and straight up saying, hey, like, we're going to make these games, but you don't own them. You're not going to have, like, any right to them. And it's a big shift from, when we had all the CDs and we had all in the physical possession. So I thought that was interesting. But it's from Ubisoft, so what can you expect?
It's really bold, too, because Ubisoft has the worst of all of the subscriptions, too.
They're awful.
Even EA is pretty decent. Like, if you don't play, if you just want to play, last year's Madden, it's a pretty good
And you
deal.
get it
And
with
it
Game
also
Pass.
has... there you go. It comes
the best deal in gaming
with the best deal in gaming. So yeah, really bold of them to make that to state that in a time where I think they've been kind of relatively quiet, so people weren't really pissed off at them. They were like, and then he came out and said something like this.
Yeah, but don't worry, because with Ubisoft Plus, you can play Skull and Bones on release. You guys are very. I know we're
gonna go play.
I'm personally very hopeful that game isn't going to be as bad as we think it's going to be.
Eric,
Don't do it like that. Don't go full death for Puss in Boots. That scared me. I literally almost was like, what the fuck? Don't do
Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah,
no one will counterpick. I think that game is actually going to hover around a 70. Honestly, I think that's just going to be. It's going to come and go, and no one's going to.
I'm telling you from the bottom of my heart, if I had to bet everything in my life, I would put that game. That there's no way that game hits a 60. That I've kept up with that game for years. That game, especially what I saw in the beta release, is awful, performance wise, and B, gameplay wise, is like a mobile game. It is going to be so bad on release. Not even funny bad. Oh wow, this is a crime that they charge money for this.
Me and Andrew played the alpha for about 15 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah. Neither of you have picked up that
what
game.
What the hell is happening? I don't even think I got on a ship in the alpha. That's how short of an amount of time I played it, because I was like, what the hell is happening?
You played 15 minutes more of that than you have Sea of Thieves, a game we wanted to play.
That's true. I've done the tutorial for Sea of Thieves, and then we haven't touched it since, because I refuse to set sail with Eric by myself. So we need to put together a crew.
I'm jumping
Stefan.
overboard.
So just jumping off.
Before we get into our games here, anybody else have any other story? Andrew, did you have any other stories? I know Stefan had the one.
So real quick, the Xbox had a developer direct where we got to see Indiana Jones for the first time. It is in first person, which is interesting. They also announced a release date for Hellblade, and that it's going to be a similar length to the first game, and that it is going to be digital only at release. And that also set the people on X, I refuse to call it Twitter, it set them all on fire over there. They were very upset about, this means that physical media is now officially dead. So that was an interesting story. The last thing I wanted to mention, and we can thank you, Eric, for your part in this, but Hogwarts Legacy sold more than 22 million copies in less than a year, and outsold Call of Duty last year.
I bought Hogwarts.
I did as well.
That's right. Team Hogwarts
I beat
Legacy,
it.
man. Listen, if you listen to the end of year awards, because I did not play Baldur's Gate
Eric's
3,
favorite game of 2023 was Hogwarts Legacy.
It was my game of the year based off of the games that I played.
He loved it more than anything.
I am fully aware, had I played Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, if I was into Zelda, I'm painfully aware this is not a game of the year, but it was the most fun I had last year, and I'm not going to pretend like it wasn't. I had a good time.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
Could have just picked Fortnite.
There's a lot wrong with that.
I've never been so turned around by a combat-based system that I thought was going to be complete dog shit.
Yeah,
so
the combat was actually
I went
pretty
in
good.
thinking
It's
it
fun.
was going to be very bad.
It was good. And then now they're going to roll out Quidditch in a $60 game and make people pay for that.
Pause. I cannot say anything because it's technically under NDA, but I was in like the play test for it.
For
Actually
Quidditch?
fun. Yeah, the Quidditch game, very fun. Cannot say anything about it. Very fun game. Actually like enjoyable fun.
I don't know about it being like its own game, especially for price, but like as a DLC or an extension, yeah, I could imagine.
I mean, it's not. It looks nothing like Hogwarts.
Flying
Legacy,
around in Hogwarts Legacy was almost as fun as the combat at times. Like, I just wanted to fly around and experience the world. Like, again, that game may not be the best game ever, but I think people just shit on it for the sake of shitting on it because it is what it is. It was a good game.
I think the saddest part of
Minus the
Hogwarts
story.
Legacy.
Story
I
was
think
bad.
the saddest part of Hogwarts Legacy, it's the closest I've ever gotten to Bully 2. So I just I just went around and bullied kids as much as I could.
Yeah, the thing about
so.
Hogwarts Legacy is that it is, I would put it in there as like top 3 adaptations. Like, if you want to live and exist in a world that you've only seen on TV or read in a book or whatever, Hogwarts Legacy nailed that, and I think that's why so many people loved it. It was like, it'd be really easy to make a cash-in Harry Potter game just on the IP and it'd be terrible. But this, like,
And they've done that.
they've done that.
And they have
This
done
was
that,
like
yeah.
a legitimate, like, you felt like you were part of that world. You were living there. You were exploring the castle. Like, you got to live out the magic of the movies.
Hogsmeade.
They had the music
all
from
that
the
stuff.
movies.
Yeah.
So it just, they captured that aspect of it really well. And
And Professor Garlic.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You know what?
Where's the milk?
I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it Game of the Year. Never mind. What did I give Game of the Year? Spider-Man.
Spider-Man 2 because you're fucking boring. Yeah, because you know it wasn't. You literally weren't even excited to like announce it as your game of the year.
Well, because I was gonna pick Fortnite, and then I selected Spider-Man. I still enjoyed Spider-Man more than
If we
Hogwarts
just would have
Legacy.
played
We'll
Baldur's
say
Gate,
that.
we would have had the correct
I have no
answer.
interest in playing Baldur's Gate. Let's go to the game.
Baldur's Gate is not. No. Eric mentioned it to me. I said I would not play with you because it would just be a miserable experience for everyone
oh,
involved.
look at this.
I already have to play.
the production
I already
value.
have to. Yeah, look at this. So we did this last month where we would guess the movie based on the Letterboxd review. This is basically the same thing, except we are going negative reviews on Metacritic. So this is the first game I have. Both of them shouldn't take very long. We've got 5 guesses for each game. But let's go here for the first one. And these are all user reviews I ripped directly from Metacritic. None of these are mine. Internet, before you go yelling at somebody over on TikTok, which it will likely be me. But let's move on to the first one. Total cheese fest, cliched characters, cheesy dialogues, predictable twist that anyone with a brain size that of a cockroach can guess, ending that was copied from Prince of Persia, describing it in one word, dog shit.
Do we just shout out our guesses?
Yeah.
You know, mine. I don't know why. I'm going to BioShock Infinite on this one. This feels like the ending was. I don't know the ending of Prince of Persia, but the twist, the predictable twist or anything like that. I love BioShock Infinite for it, but that sounds like someone would be mad at this game like that.
That
All
would
right,
hurt my
BioShock
heart.
Infinite. Eric, what do you think?
Assassin's Creed.
Okay. Andrew?
Yeah, I was kind of leaning Assassin's Creed just based on the Prince of Persia comparison, but honestly, man, Yeah, the ending that was copied from Prince of Persia. Where's Dylan when you need him?
And to be fair, there's not going to be necessarily like the goal of this is just to have fun and be wowed that somebody would say this about some of these games. So there's not necessarily like clues in here from like for you guys to guess. I just wanted to see if you can, if anyone can possibly throw out what game this person could be talking about.
I guess I'll go Assassin's Creed 2 just because I can't think of anything else.
All right, it is The Last of Us.
Oh my god.
This person really didn't like The Last of Us. I'll say this also.
That happened in Prince of
I
Persia?
pulled all 5. I don't know, honestly. I was like, okay, I'll take your word for it. I'll say this. I guess I'll give this clue. This is all from like with the first 5 pages of Metacritic as far as all-time games
Oh, that's
goes.
a big
So
clue.
we'll pull from there. There's a lot of games listed on there. I was pretty surprised. Let's get to the next one here. Just like all other sandbox games, it's fun for a few hours, but then the novelty wears off and all you're left with is a crappy story. There is no challenge here because this isn't a game. It's a movie shoehorned into a simulator. Trust me, it's not as much fun as it sounds. Much of the gameplay consists of what feels more like chores than fun. None of it is challenging. It's all just designed to waste your time, and after a few hours, you'll realize it's exactly that, a waste of time.
Dang.
So
This is 100%, 100% one of the Legend of Zelda games. 100%. It's either Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild.
So it's other sandbox games. So I mean, like,
Breath
what
of the
else?
Wild,
What else
aren't
would?
those-
What else would fall?
I'm going Grand Theft
Yeah.
Auto 5.
What do you think, Eric?
Is tough. The only sandbox game that I can really think of is like Minecraft. That can't be it. You know what? I'll go the opposite of Andrew. Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh, that's
Oh,
probably a
Eric?
better guess.
The first Red Dead Redemption.
Oh.
So you were very,
That was the
very
movie
close.
thing,
You guys were both
yeah.
on the right track. Yeah, you guys were both on the right track for the first Red Dead Redemption. That one definitely hurt my heart.
Yeah,
That game is
that
so
person's
good.
an idiot.
Overhyped. This game is not good. Vast ammo games are a buzzkill. I want to be able to make it through a level with enough ammo in my gun and not have to beat someone. Stupid idea. Non-modern, old-fashioned games don't cut it for me. Yes, if we look at the story, it is clean and the graphics are nice, but that doesn't dismiss the fact that there is no appeal to this game. Nothing really attracted me to these are all copied and pasted directly. I did not edit these, by the way. Nothing really attracted me to and it has 0 replay value, something that even people who like this game cannot deny.
What game
Fast
running out
ammo
of
games
ammo
are a
like that?
buzzkill, but then I want to be able to make it through a level with enough ammo in my gun. Does sound like
I would have.
conflicting ideas?
I
I
would
don't,
have.
think he, I don't think he knows what vast
Yeah.
means. I think that's the problem.
I would have guessed like Red Dead or The Last of Us here. So it's obviously not either of those games because we just got them.
All 5 of these are either Red Dead or The Last of Us.
I'm gonna go Resident Evil
I
2
know what this
remake.
is. It's the Last of Us 2. Oh, actually, the Resident Evil one is pretty. Yeah, Resident Evil guess is actually pretty good.
What do you think, Eric?
I'll go Days Gone.
I'm gonna go Resident Evil 4 remake. That's it. That's we're on that end.
Sorry, Eric. It is BioShock.
Oh, hey! No.
What is a vast ammo game? What does that even
What are
mean?
you using? What are you using a gun for like that? Like you have so many weapon options, attack options. Like I don't understand.
Well, because that's where Adrian was said it was confusing because he said vast ammo games are a buzzkill, but like vast means like a lot.
There's like a whole bunch, right?
A whole bunch,
Like bullet storm.
Yeah, like
Left 4 Dead.
you literally have max ammo in Call of Duty Zombies. Like I don't understand.
Maybe he
what
doesn't
his
know.
point was.
Maybe he doesn't know what synonyms are either. I'm wondering if maybe he searched.
Antonym.
Was that
It's just
Eric from you?
Eric does it. Yeah. All right, next one here. So I did edit out like where they said like the name of the game. Obviously, this is one of the game again. As far as this what's the word I'm looking for? Now I can't even think of
Just
the word.
read it, just word for word.
As far as
Do
spelling
it.
and everything. Game is one of the game I dislike so much. I'm sorry for the people who is a fan of it. The graphics are beautiful. It's very good at fitting the hemisphere and making you understand the atmosphere. The gameplay was not that good. The character movement was a bit clunky. Repetitive attack animation. What I like about it was the signs and blocking. So to the enemies. They were particularly the same and not very little diversity, at least when I played through. Played through one word, by the way. The huge letdown of this game is the loading screen. Yep, you heard it right. And no, just get good. I took a timer, and it was over a whole minute. A minute! Dialogue was good. Story a bit dragging, but immersive and cool.
That took me for a ride because I thought I knew it halfway through, and then
And then it just like took a
in
left
the
turn,
just get
right?
good, I was like, okay, maybe it's not what I think it was.
I'm gonna tell you this. It'd be hilarious if this was Elden Ring.
You know, I'm telling you, I'm almost for sure it's in this Souls-like genre. I'm gonna say Dark Souls 3 though.
So, Bloodborne was notorious at launch for having a very simple and very long loading screen. This person's obviously trying to use the English language and not understanding how it works, but
It was fitting the hemisphere.
I'm going to base my guess off of the fact that they liked the signs and blocking and say The Witcher 3.
Boom!
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Look at that.
As you
That
wore
way.
your shirt. That's crazy.
So there we go. Nice job, Andrew. This is like whose line is anyway. 500 points to Andrew. Great job.
Nice.
Andrew's in the lead. Let's see. Last one. Honestly, this game is far too overrated. If you're a fan of blank, then okay, it's the game for you. But as I am not that, I am a gamer, and as a gamer, I think the game is not good game. The story is far too simple and predictable. The combat is unpolished button mashing, and there is far too little content to be worth buying. The characters in this game are all over the place, and what the developers should have done is expanded more in each of the villains, rather than making characters jump from place to place with no real drive. This would have also helped with the fact that you can finish the game in only a few hours. This game is repetitive, clunky, and overrated. The lack of content and horrible story are by far the greatest letdowns.
I have a couple guesses, but I don't know which one I want to pick.
I've never been more confident in this game. It's Spider-Man 2.
Okay. I'm going to go God of War.
I'm.
God of War, okay.
Oh, that's
Spider-Man
actually
2.
pretty good. I'm gonna guess the Batman Arkham Asylum games. It's one of those guys. I don't know the names of them, but I'm gonna go with one of those.
Stefan, 500
Oh.
points.
Oh, man.
Arkham City.
That's good.
Which I think is considered
The best of the three.
best of the
I mean,
three.
people will argue that they like
I mean,
Asylum better
Asylum,
because of the
yeah.
more Metroidvania aspects of it, but Arkham City's the most popular, I think.
I will say I definitely Eric beat me too, but I definitely was thinking Spider-Man 2 as well.
Eric, you were in the
Similar
right
combat.
Yeah, I was in
realm.
the right space.
You were in the right
yeah.
realm. Yeah,
Hey,
so.
that's where I was at too, and then you took it. I was like, the only other game that I can think of that's pretty similar.
But yeah, that one was fun. I always love pulling up some of those reviews. Let's get into our last game here that I was very excited. I put a little bit too much work into as far as putting it together. So during the pandemic, we would have, me and some friends would have a PowerPoint presentation party where you put together a presentation and literally do whatever you want, cover whatever topic. This is what I pulled this from, is during the pandemic I put together a PowerPoint over what costs more, a cameo or a piece of IKEA furniture.
Beautiful.
And that is what we are
Beautiful.
going to do here to wrap up this episode, the January edition of What Did I Miss? I got 5 celebrities here and 5 pieces of IKEA furniture, and you guys get to guess which one of these do you think costs more between the two of them. Let's get to the first one here. Christopher Judge, a great voice actor, obviously Kratos in the new God of War series, or this clip-in love seat that you see here on the right-hand
Now,
side of
quick
your
question.
screen. Which one do you think cost more?
You made this during the pandemic. Did you update
No, not
Okay,
this one.
so
no,
this
no.
is
I
current.
did a version of
Okay.
this during the pandemic. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is these are brand new cameo people, and maybe I assume updated IKEA furniture as well.
I'm going
so,
Christopher Judge
I didn't-
then.
All right.
I'm going the love seat. That definitely looks like an expensive love seat. I'm not gonna lie to you.
This is exactly the dialogue I was hoping for. I just want to let you know I'm already very happy.
Couple clarifying questions.
love
So
seat looks
love
so
seat, that's
uncomfortable.
pre-installation. It's pre-installation.
Yeah, I did
no?
not.
Just the
I
purchase
didn't go
price.
in and add the installation charges
not
to.
add-
And it's am I picking up or delivery? Because that also
You have pals for that.
factors into
I
the
also use your pals, Eric. This is just the item by itself. I didn't realize that I would have to.
price. Are we calculating the gas it took?
I'm
to
gonna
get to
kick
the
you
store?
out. I'm gonna kick you out. If you
Am I
don't-
also getting an ice cream sundae while I'm there? Their ice cream sundaes are good. That's all.
They are pretty good.
I'm gonna go Christopher Judge.
All right, Christopher Judge cameo, $500. Love seat,
Whoa.
$449. So you can get.
Very close.
Pretty close there. All right, let's go next. Lindsay Lohan
Oh my God.
cameo, or this 4-seater Lanneberg Stefan. See, there you go.
It's
Yeah,
got my
but
name. It's gotta be it. I'm picking it.
what do you guys?
gotta be-
That's 4
it's-
chairs, though. I mean,
It's
as an adult,
$7,000.
Small table.
4
How much that
chairs.
cost?
You're going table, Eric. What do you think?
Yeah, that table's like a solid $950.
It's nice and
so-
sturdy.
Yeah, I'm
Nice
gonna
and- yeah.
maybe even over $1,000. I'm gonna go table.
All right, Lindsay Lohan cameo, 400. Table, 369.
Wow.
Wow, that's a deal.
Pretty
a good
solid.
deal.
I might
Are
go
you
check
gonna
that
get
shit
a
out.
tail?
Yeah, I might have. I'm gonna have to go check that out. Eric, you guys want to go to IKEA after we see Godzilla on Sunday?
Before.
No. All right, next up, Nolan North cameo, another great voice actor, or the Namaro outdoor bench.
Okay, listen. At this point, I've gone furniture every time. I just gotta. It's gotta be right one of these times. So I'm gonna go to the outdoor bench. Also, I have no idea who Nolan North is.
Wow.
So
Oh, he's the voice actor for Nathan Drake and any other video game character.
Any video game character that's, not Troy Baker.
That's not Troy Baker.
That's not Troy Baker. Who is
Or-
Indiana Jones?
Yeah. I'm gonna go bench.
Right, Eric. What do you think?
I don't know. Maybe you could probably go IKEA furniture here, but it'd be funny if you went 3 in a row with the cameo. So I'm gonna go Nolan North.
All right, is the bench shining Nolan North by $25. Not a big fan of this bench. You probably have to stain it as well. It looks like a project more than it is
It looked like a cheap bench,
finished
so I'm
Yeah,
product.
it's a
kinda
pretty
shocked.
cheap
So,
bench.
Nolan North.
Nolan North,
Cool $100 for Nolan
famous
North.
for his role in Uncharted, the movie.
No, that's not. I'm pretty sure I got Nolan North. I talked to Nolan North and got him to sign a copy of Uncharted 4 for less than $100. So just go to a convention, buy a $30 ticket, and then get in his line before. Don't buy his cameo. Then you can talk to him in person, for Christ's sake. Kenny G cameo, or this Lapland TV stand. Look at
Yeah,
all
that's-
those. Look at all
that's
those
involved.
I actually used to have this TV stand, Eric. If it looks familiar, this used to be. I used to have this TV stand.
That does
It
look
was-
familiar, actually.
Based on that,
I'll
I'm
tell
going
you now,
Kenny
that
G.
TV stand's definitely, that TV stand's expensive in a way, but not Kenny G expensive. So I'm going Kenny G here.
yeah, I think it's gonna be the TV stand, but I'm gonna go Kenny G also because he looks like he would charge you $1,000 for like 10 seconds worth of a video. So he just gives off that vibe. So I'm going Kenny G.
What'd you say, Andrew?
I'm going Kenny G as well.
All right, Kenny G, $375, TV stand, $229.
That's a good deal on that TV stand.
It's a
that
nice
TV stand,
It
yeah.
only fits up to like a 50-inch TV, though. I think that was the thing. And
I think you guys missed
I've
where
outgrown
Andrew.
that.
I think you guys missed where Andrew heard that Phil bought it, and he based his decision off of that. He was
That's
like,
fair.
well,
That's actually
that's,
like pre-Klarna quad pay days is
Yeah,
when I
I
had
know
it.
you're
So I
balling,
paid for it
Phil,
outright.
but
that's one
No, I
word.
paid. This was this was like never mind. It was a rougher time in my life, and I somehow
you
bought
stole that
this
off the
TV
side of
stand,
the
but
road, and
It's like, oh, it's in good shape. All right, last one here as we wrap up the episode. Chuck Norris cameo, or this bedroom set. How
I feel like
I mean,
you
we're
should've
talking
learned
bed
how to pronounce
frame.
them.
I don't think so. Bed frame and then 2 end tables. Mattress not included. So this is just the bed set frame and the 2 end tables or Chuck Norris.
I wouldn't
cameo.
dare disrespect Chuck Norris because Chuck Norris doesn't do push-ups. He pushes the world down. So I'm going Chuck Norris.
Can we bring Chuck Norris jokes back in 2024? Can
Did they
that be
ever
the thing
leave?
God, no.
that we do?
I feel like Chuck Norris.
Eric, what are you
probably-
looking at? Stop Googling IKEA items.
No, I wanted to see if Chuck Norris was in the Expendables 4. That would tell me if he's struggling for cash. I don't believe he was.
I feel like Chuck Norris charges a normal amount for cameos, and I know bedroom sets tend to cost a lot, especially IKEA like drawer sets are always super expensive. So I'm going the bedroom set.
Eric?
According to IMDb, he was in the Expendables 4, so I'm going to say bedroom set here, because there's no way.
$450 for the cameo, $508 for that bedroom set. So
Gotta make up
there you
those
go, guys.
losses.
If any of you are in the market for either furniture or or a cameo, feel free to go back and rewind and take a look at this presentation. But guys, that has been Cameo or IKEA.
How irresponsible do you have to be to spend $450 to get Chuck Norris to say something to you through the phone?
I'll tell you what, the most expensive one, I'm going to pull it back up, I believe was around $3,000. I'm not even kidding.
Who was it, like Barack Obama
me-
or something?
No, it's $2,500 for Caitlyn Jenner. And we're just going to leave
Yeah,
that
I'm
there.
not going to touch that. Eric, why don't you say something? You've been on a roll today.
where's the
Eric,
milk?
no,
Where's the
nope. Some of these that are like upwards of $1,000. I don't even know. Fran Drescher is $1,000. The nanny, if you guys are familiar with her. Andrew Dice Clay, $1,000.
Never heard of him in my life.
Some of these people that I've never heard of. You can get what's his name? What's that shitty comedian? Oh, Matt Rife is $500. You can get him. $600 for Ice-T. If anybody, and also remember the 2 twins that are like assassins in Breaking Bad, Eric?
Yeah?
You can get one of them for $500.
Okay, well, that doesn't make sense.
They can do it a second time, and it's like you have both of them.
I think you have to pay $1,000.
How do you know which one you
though.
get?
You don't.
That's true. That
The
is
only
true.
cameo I've
So,
ever priced was Doug Cockle because I thought it would be cool if I could get him to like introduce the podcast or something and have like Geralt introduce.
Yeah.
But then it's like then you have to charge it as like a business cameo. It's not just like a
Right.
happy birthday, and then they're more expensive. And I was like, yeah, it's not worth it.
they are. Yeah, I think I've gotten a couple cameos. One for my daughter, one for a friend. Yeah, they're not not cheap. It's an interesting business model that they have put together over there at Cameo. But guys, this has been a lot of fun. I want to thank you for joining us for again what is just a really casual episode, but you also get to talk about a lot of fun stuff, and with so much gaming news here in the first month of the year, which was crazy. It was fun to get everybody together. So, Stefan, I know we're going to be seeing you obviously in a couple weeks. You're helping us out at Brick City Anime Festival, like you always do. So we're going to get to hang out in Ocala. We're also getting to see Godzilla for the first time on Sunday, which I am super excited for. We're also hanging out tomorrow for the Royal Rumble. I get to see Stefan 3 days in a row in the next couple of weekends, and yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. But Stefan, other than Brick City, is there anything you want to talk about? Anything you want to plug? Shit on My Hero Academia for like 30 seconds. I'll give you the time.
No, that's not.
Absolutely.
Eric,
30
this is
seconds-
mine.
30 seconds, start the timer. My Hero Academia has the worst characters of all time. Deku is just the most crybaby bitch. Crying I don't think there was a single episode in the first season where he did not cry. Every character that is even remotely cool is just stolen from other shows. The show is just complete and utter objective dog shit.
All right, that was 25 seconds. Feels good. Eric.
Two ends of the
God.
spectrum here.
All right. Spectrum is a good word for what's going on over at Eric. Andrew, anything? Let everybody know.
How do I follow that up?
What's going on? Mangoes. Let everybody know what's going on in Friendly Neighborhood Gamers and anything else that you want to talk about as we get out of here.
Yeah, well, anywhere that you listen to the Wait For It podcast, you can find us because we have not signed an exclusivity deal yet. We talk about video games. We, like I said at the beginning of the episode, we recently did our Fantasy Critic Draft. That's up as a podcast episode, and that's also on our YouTube channel. If you want to see it go down, we have a YouTube channel. I recently reviewed Assassin's Creed Mirage, and we have another video coming out this week, I believe. So a lot of stuff going on over there. Those are the two places where we put content. You can also follow us on social media and join our Discord if you want to hang out with us. But yeah, thanks for having me. This is a ton of fun. I love the laid back, silly episodes. This is kind of why I got into podcasting, was listening to these group conversations where people just sounded like they were having fun. So I was excited to be a part of this.
Yeah, definitely, and we're gonna keep the guest list rotating. So as the year goes on, we'll definitely love to have you back. I'm glad you brought up the Assassin's Creed video, because in your Discord channel, you were like, yeah, I had some relatively strong feelings about it, and then the title of the video is A Heartless Shell of a Game. And I was like, yeah, I feel like he had some strong feelings about it.
I mean, thumbnails, you have to go extreme. That's how you get people to click, but yeah.
I'm glad I watched it too, because I was thinking, because it was like $30 on Amazon a couple weeks ago, and I was like, I keep prolonging Cyberpunk. I can play something else while I'm continue to prolong Cyberpunk 2077 as well as the DLC. But yeah, definitely check all that out. Of course, everything will be in the show notes as always, and make sure you check out the Fantasy Critic Draft that we did a couple weeks ago. Eric, 3 months in a row. This has always been a lot of fun. For some reason, there's the kitty cat. For some reason, whenever we get started, we always have some weird technical difficulties in this. But then as the episode gets going, it always ends up being a whole lot of fun. We've alluded to a couple things throughout this entire episode. Of course, if you want to find anything between our social media pages as well as archived episodes, all of it is in our Linktree link. The most important things to keep up with are Instagram, TikTok, and our Discord page. We will be at Brick City Anime Festival here in just a couple weeks in Ocala, Florida. Guys, this lineup is absolutely stacked. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. Obviously, some of your favorite vendors here from Florida and all throughout the country are going to be there, and we cannot wait to see you. If you want to support the show, you can do a couple things. One, head on over to Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Give Friendly Neighborhood Gamers and the Wait For It podcast 5 stars. It is the lifeblood of podcasting, and it helps us get some more recognition and more ears on the show. You can also share our content. Let people know that you're listening. Tag us. Let us know that, hey, we are out here and we are enjoying the content. And but if you do want to go maybe an extra mile and support us a little bit more, such as Stefan does, as well as our friend Briar, Eric will let you know how to do that.
Yeah, so there's actually a couple ways you can do that. First, you could go directly to our Buzzsprout page and become a supporter of the show there. Or you could go ahead and take those funds and move on over to Patreon, where patrons like Stefan and Briar are keeping the show running, and they get access to exclusive perks like behind the scenes and early access to episodes like this one. So a lot more that we plan on doing early on this year, kind of building that platform. We'd love to have you, and hey, I'll start throwing this in here. Did you know you can join Patreon for free? Because you can start seeing clips of these episodes to kind of get a little taste of what you can expect as a patron. So with all that being said, if you can, give us a like, a comment, a share. All of those things are free, and they're very much appreciated. My name is MrEricAlmighty. That is my co-host, PhiltheFilipino, and our guests, Andrew and Stefan. And please don't forget, we release new episodes on this podcast every Wednesday with bonus content on platforms like TikTok, and all you got to do is wait for it.
Spin that wheel.
No. It's too late. You ruined it.
So, I heard you're looking for a go-to source for entertainment.
Wait for it.
Gaming?
Wait for it.
Anime?
Plus Ultra!
Mr. Eric Almighty and Phil the Filipino? Yeah, they've got you covered. And all you gotta do is wait for it. This is the Wait For It podcast.